Welcome back, students. This afternoon, we're going to enjoy the true story of the three little pigs. And on the front, I see it's designed, it's illustrated kind of like a newspaper with a headline. And here it says The Daily Wolf, like a daily newspaper. And this is by A. Wolf. And I would have to have a magnifying glass to read all this little writing. But it's like the report. I think it's kind of like the report of the true story of the three little pigs, as told to John Scieszka, illustrated by Lane Smith. And all over the back is this teeny tiny little newspaper writing. And then here, if you look close up, it says the scenes of the crimes, right? I see A is a house of straw, B is a house of sticks, and C is a house of bricks. Can you guys see that close up? Okay, here we go. The True Story of the Three Little Pigs by A. Wolf. By A. Wolf, as told to John Scieszka. So it's kind of like pretending that the wolf told the author this story, right? This is the real story of what happened. And this is kind of neat. There's just a little cup with a stick, some straw, and it's sitting on a brick. Okay. Oh, isn't that interesting? So the first letter is an E for everybody, but the E is made of sticks and bricks and straw. Okay, everybody knows the story of the three little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever had my side of the story. So who is telling the story this time? I see a wolf and I see a big sandwich. Okay, let's get going. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think that you were big and bad too. Oh, that's funny. So the wolf is complaining that all those cute things he eats are just the natural things for wolves to eat. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. So he's drawn on like a chalkboard. Sneeze, achoo, cup of sugar. And they're not using pop-out letters or words, but using kind of neatly designed sticks and pig nose, very funny. It says, "This is the real story." And his ears, someone's ears are peeking up there. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar. Okay, so I'll show you the details. He's there mixing up, I guess, a cake in the kitchen. There's a picture of his granny up there, and he's making a cake for her. It's kind of messy. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. That means he wasn't very smart. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house of straw? So there's Wolf walking down the street to his neighbors, walking down the road, not the street. So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in?" No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. And that's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed.
There's a close-up of his nose, right?
And I sneezed a great sneeze.
You can see his big sneeze. Achoo! And there's a little pig going flying. And I think the house is
Flying too. Let's see. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there.
Would you leave a big cheeseburger lying there? That's after the straw explosion.
I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin."
So there's the house of sticks. And there's the pig shaving.
I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, right? Cover your sneezes these days. But I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor.
So there the sneeze is coming on and kapow!
Same result.
I think it's a little funny in the illustration how when he says the little pig is there dead in the middle, but the twigs, the sticks, have lined up to look kind of like fork and a spoon and a knife, like it's a meal ready for him to
Gobble up. Now, oh, look, the N is like sausages. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full. His tummy's getting bigger. But my cold was feeling a little better. But I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again."
So there is the wolf getting a fuller and fuller tummy, and there's the house made of bricks. Kind of looks like a castle. A castle with just a little tiny window to peek out of.
Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." He's being kind of insulting.
So there's the sneeze, and you can see the pig peeking out from his teeny tiny window.
He's kind of got a scary face, doesn't he? He looks pretty scary. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down this pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. Oh, wow. He made such a disturbance that the police came.
So there he is, huffing and puffing because he's sneezing. And it looks like, is this like the police?
The rest, as they say, is history. Oh. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting, so they jazzed up the story with all of that huff and puff and blow your house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed. To be framed is when people change the facts to get someone else in trouble, right? So the wolf is saying that the story wasn't exciting enough. Sure, the things happened the way he says they happened, but he wasn't really trying
To huff and puff and blow down anybody's house. He just had a bad cold. So he just kept sneezing.
and breaking stuff up. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar.
So he ended up in jail. There he is in the stripy black and white clothes of someone in jail, kind of old-fashioned style. And he's grown quite a beard. I wonder how long he's been there.
So that is the true story of the three little pigs. And by the way, if you like this kind of fun story too, this author John Scieszka has some other series also of chapter books that are kind of fun called the Time Warp Trio. And maybe I'll put a link below to that for some of you might be interested in looking for those books when we have a chance to get out and get some more neat books. So I hope you enjoyed that twisted tale, that new version of the Three Little Pigs. Be sure to get out and get some fresh air. Be sure to keep washing your hands. Cover your coughs and sneezes. Big sneezes like the big bad wolf. Help your family around the house. Do some reading. Do some writing. I miss you guys. I love you. Elbow bump.